What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and this is going to be a different video to you. We are going to go down the psychological aspect of how people are affected by control and media. So I decided we're going to look over the 7 stages of grief because they are prevalent in what is going on right now. And honestly, what Arian Foster is doing is so much lower than what Larry Johnson is doing. Arian Foster and discount Joey Janela. And if you've never seen this guy, I swear he's just trying to look like Joey Janela. Look at this guy in his the dude who's with he tries so hard to be like a wrestler, but literally like Joey Janela started wearing sunglasses. This guy started wearing sunglasses. Joey Janela started wearing his hat a certain way. This guy started wearing his. So we got discount Joey Janela and discount Kyrie Irving now teaming up to besmirch guys like Larry Johnson, who told the truth, who by the way was better than Arian Foster could ever be. But more importantly, what they do here is you can see that they are going from shock, which the shock's over. They understand that the bad news hit them, okay? They understand that we know it's rigged. What do they do next? Trying to avoid the inevitable. We can argue that they're in denial right now, but anger is what I'm seeing. Frustrated outpouring of bottled-up emotion with a mix of bargaining. They're trying to do it in a sarcastic way. But as you saw in my last couple Pat Mcafee videos, he's getting kind of angry. And testing realistic solutions. He's talking about technology and how we're going to fix this. So my point is, they're like between, in my opinion, anywhere between anger and depression right now, as far as the stages of grief. Let's listen to what discount Kyrie Irving and discount Joey Janela have to say.
Before we started taping, Arian was telling me about how the NFL is rigged and how every year he used to get a script.
Yeah.
Day one of training camp that would get dropped off at his locker. Mm-hmm. And you would have to, it was like week 1 you'll do this. Week 2 you're going to have a hamstring injury. Week 3 this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Week 4 you're going to get 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And so then you just have to, did you memorize those before the season started? Or would you go and rehearse the script before every game?
We were really dedicated to it, so it was more so like that's what practice was about. It was about practicing the script. Like, this is what goes on, and this is what we have to do in order to. Yeah.
And this referee is going to miss this call because they hate you, they love the Colts, that sort of thing.
WWF, so it's like, we know what's going to happen, but you just still got to put on a show.
Yeah.
What did you think when you got the script in 2016 that said your career was going to fall off a cliff when you stopped believing in God?
That was 2015.
Around there.
That was 2015, and oddly enough, the script writers, they didn't have anything to do with that, actually. It just had more so to do with they needed to change the scenery in Houston.
It was time to go.
Yeah, it was time to go. So they wanted to get everybody out of Houston. That was the ultimate goal. So that was what that.
All right, so I did my best impersonation possible of discount Kyrie and Joey. But my point is, this was like an hour-long mocking video where, again, they just mocked Larry Johnson, tried to pin him as one of those people who, quote, found the universe. Now, mind you, they talk about macrodosing. All they talk about on this show is doing acid and things like that. But my point is, all they're doing now is using anger and some bargaining to kind of sarcastically point out, oh, yeah, we got the script. But they're actually telling us exactly what happened. Is anything that Arian said unrealistic? Is him getting a script and say, okay, you're going to get this amount of money. Make sure in week 3 you don't play because we need this to happen. Do you really think that a young guy coming out of college, probably a dude who never worked a real job in his life, just based on the way he presents himself. He presents himself as a very egomaniacal person who just thinks he doesn't need to do anything. Like, this is what he's doing now. And he'll probably relegate himself to trying his own, you can see he's already been relegated to YouTube with the likes of people like me. So you could see Arian has fallen from glory. And why? They brought it up. They said, why did it happen? And he said, well, they just wanted everybody out of Houston. Again, this goes in levels, okay? So as big of a worm as Arian is, just imagine how big of a worm Nicholas Chubb has to be getting the treatment he's getting, or Tom Brady got, or Pat Mahomes, or any of these guys. So these guys are worms, they're definitely worms. And then, like I said, I think Joey Janela should definitely call gimmick infringement because, goodness, if you can't try and look like somebody any more than this guy has, which just shows that this dude, I don't even know his name, I think he goes by PFT, is just a guy that's very insecure. And again, projection is the best way to find out what these guys are up to. So here we have them telling us, I got the script in week 1, and then in week 2 I was supposed to do this, week 3 I was supposed to do that. And that's exactly what happens in wrestling. And for them to act like it's ridiculous, I'll give you an example. AJ Hawk or whoever, I don't know which Hawk it is, I genuinely don't. I think it's his brother because I remember AJ had long hair. But either way, they're all talking about how like, oh yeah, since we were in the league and stuff, we didn't know the finish. Like they're acting like they were top stars, and since they didn't know how the final games were going to end, then there's no way that there could have been a script. Well, let me explain wrestling to you. In wrestling, when there's a main event, especially a big one, you can watch The Undertaker talk about this. The winner of the match doesn't know until about 10 minutes before. Let alone nobody's in the locker room like TJ Hawk or AJ Hawk or whoever, whichever one it is, and Arian Foster, who is a one-hit wonder. These guys are not privy to who's even going to win. So they are told what they're all given instructions, as Arian told us, in a sarcastic way. But the difference is when wrestling, again, they don't let the wrestlers know. They told Undertaker he was going over, and then 10 minutes before the match said, yeah, Lesnar's going over. So I bring this up because it kind of covers two. I didn't want to have to go into two videos, do all these impersonations, but in Pat Mcafee's video, he goes on to, again, this is a man that is working for the books and called WWE flawlessly with no training. He just left. He went there and did perfect, and he was forced to leave. But my point is, these guys are acting like there's no way you can know the finish. Pat McAfee didn't know the finish when he was calling the matches. The wrestlers don't know till the last minute, and they call change-ups. So they do the same thing in football. They're not going to let nobodies know the script. So they're going to be told their own script. But you can see what they're doing. They're really reaching here, and they're trying to tie the fact that we know certain people are in the know and certain people are chosen, and they're trying to make it like, oh yeah, all of us have to be in on it. One-hit wonders like Arian Foster, or guys that like Pat McAfee, who punted for a team. And yes, punters are very important, and I think Pat did know stuff. But these other guys, TJ Hawk, they knew what they had to know. And their egos, I think, are being hurt because this is above their head. This is talk that they don't even really know about. They know it's rigged. They know that they did stuff to rig games. But it's like when a wrestler doesn't know who's going to win a finish, but a fan does. It gets brought up all the time by MJF. He's like, he calls, how wrestlers don't even know who's going to win a match, but a fan will, because a fan's paying attention and the wrestler really doesn't give a shit. He's just getting paid. So that's a very good interview too if you want to watch MJF and Undertaker talk about it. And they're comparing it to WWF on purpose because they know that's what they're doing. So that's another subliminal thing. If they just we thought it was rigged, they could jump to any reason. They could jump to gematria. They could jump to the movies. They could jump to TV. They can go to cartoons. They can use music. But they decide to all specifically use WWE. Why? It's because that's the main thing that they are all seeing in the algorithm. They're seeing people are noticing it specifically like WWE. To a point, WWE now looks more realistic. I'm not even kidding. If you watch the main event of the Royal Rumble, it had more emotion, physicality, and realistic looking organic spots than anything I saw in the championship games. The injuries looked more realistic, everything. So, not to be long-winded, but these people can joke around all they want. And I don't want to just keep belaboring this point, but this is a big one. Because I think people like Arian, because again, he's a wannabe Kyrie. And Kyrie caved too. So you can kind of see what happens. They go out and they get these guys, they get them to cave, even if you feel like they would never cave. But what they did in this podcast was messed up because they went ahead and they basically just, oh yeah, Larry, he's normal, but, he thinks he sees alien, shit like that, or whatever. Just trying to make him backhanded compliments all day when they're literally talking about the same stuff. But that's what they do. They did it to a guy named Jamal Rashad. This guy got destroyed. This guy, okay, I'll be honest. This guy was really out there because he was coming out and saying, and I'm not saying he's wrong. He was saying that there's robots in the NBA. Like these players aren't even human. They're basically clones. Now, that, I watch everything and I take it as it is. But he also goes into the spreads and how there's psychological numbers and why certain athletes like Kyrie, like Derrick Rose, I'm sure Arian Foster fits the bill at that time in his career, they fall off a cliff for a reason. Now, you might be able to find it on TikTok. It was all wiped off his YouTube, and from what I know, he was arrested. So, yeah, he was accused of 2 murders. Now, from all the videos I've seen of this guy, again, we don't know people, but just listening to their videos, I just don't see the guy as a murderer. But maybe he did murder those people. I don't know. I know this guy came out and said some really convincing points about the NBA, and he tied in the mafia with it, which happened to line up exactly with Michael Francese's story. And when he calls them robots, I thought of the movie Space Jam. And I said, how crazy could it really be? Do they really put everything in our face? But not to get too crazy, I don't want to sound like they're trying to pin Larry Johnson. I'm just saying Jamal Rashad's video is incredibly interesting. I think these athletes have technology that we've never heard of. And I do believe that they have a select club that they want to be privy to that. I don't think they like it when guys like Allen Iverson come along. Don't fit the bill. But the fans like them too much, and then they have to push them. And that's what Jamal Rashad goes into. So I didn't want to make a bunch of videos, but I wanted to cover just the lowliness and this, how big of scoundrels, discount Joey, discount Kyrie, and Pat McAfee are, because, and the least relevant Hawk, because all they're doing is mocking people that are asking genuine questions. They're using guys like Larry Johnson, and they're just running him through the mud because he's a great example, because he's better than they ever were. And there's not much, he played for the damn Chiefs, so you can kind of see why they might want to make Larry Johnson look bad. So I expect this to continue. Now, again, then Pat put out a video, on his thing where they're kind of, Arian did such a good job trolling everyone. He did. Not really. Considering the fact that it's Arian Foster, to put in perspective, on my old channel, I've had views that have done better than this one. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying maybe they are losing grip over the narrative, which is amazing. If more people are watching alternatives like us than Arian Foster, who is a big name, but people can see that he's a scoundrel, that's amazing. Now, obviously, Pat's always going to be getting millions because he's Pat McAfee, but you can see these ex-athletes coming out and just trying to play puppets, but do it in a way like they're rebels. It's not working. Because, again, if you watch wrestling, you've probably noticed this dude trying to look like Joey Janela for a long time. And that's the reason I never liked him. Like, every time I saw him come up in my recommended, I'm like, why is Joey Janela doing a podcast? I really thought that. Why is he doing a podcast? And then I listened to him like once or twice, and he never really talked about what was in the title, as you can see here. An hour-long video, and in 2 minutes is what they talk about, how crazy it is that it might be scripted. And just to put it in perspective, imagine a WWE match. Look at all the spots that they pull off in that match. And they can't mess up because they're doing it live just like the NFL. And they don't have helmets. They don't have time. They can't call a timeout like the NFL. So the WWE is much harder, yet they pull it off. So to act like this script would be, you have to get 50 yards today, Arian. Like, he'd have to be a moron not to follow. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's just that stupid. That happens with players. It happened with Chad Ochocinco. Not to be rude, but with you, if you don't have a good enough football IQ, which could very well could have been the case with Arian, and you're not making it look realistic enough, I'd be interested. I'm very interested to see his highlights. He probably oversold a lot of things, like when he I remember he used to do a lot of the jukes more so than the trucks, but he probably made it look unrealistic because you need a good football IQ. You need to know what to do on third down. You need to know when to block. You still need to know fundamentals so it's realistic looking. That's why wrestlers that look like they have it all wind up falling off too. It's because you need to be able to sell. So my guess is the reason he was unceremoniously dropped off a cliff was a little different than Kyrie's, where Kyrie's, I believe, he would not cave. I think Arian just didn't have the IQ to continue. Chris Johnson, I said it from the beginning, this was as a fan, I said Chris Johnson is not going to last because he can only run outside the tackles. He has holes and he misses them consistently. Now, I said this as a fan. He gets the big contract, sure enough, falls off a cliff. Now, why did that happen? Was it because he didn't have the IQ? I think it was. Brady, they're offering him $350 million to be in the box. Why do we think this is? Do we think it's because he's that big of a draw? Yes, he's a draw. But I think it's because they know they need one of the best people that can sell up there calling the plays, up there probably ahead of those guys, telling them what to say. Don't forget there's guys in the truck that quite literally have if you look at Aikman closely, they all have earpieces in for a reason. It's not just to talk to the downstage reporters. They are literally being fed line by line, and then they have to improv when something gets screwed up. So this is my take on not the end game, but their rhyme and reason, how they go about it. You can see how they have the announcers in place to tell us what's going to happen and what to expect, like they did with Chris Jones. Oh, if he had that one more big play, he would have got that. They would have won last year, and he gets it this year. Then you have your Pat Mcafees, the one that we think are with us, and they're like, no, they try and be nice at first, but then they get ratioed and they start getting mean. They call their friends, Arian Foster, hey, I'll give you some money. This is just my opinion, just kind of what I think happens. Or people reach out to Arian Foster. This is what I think Draymond Green is doing with his show, and Matt Barnes. I think they're doing the same thing. Hey, can you come on? You guys are rebels. People think you're cool. Come out and in the best way you can, just squash this rigged thing. And I think Arian, maybe he is a good guy because he didn't do a great job. He literally told us a very realistic story and then just kind of laughed it off. And then like the one guy chimed in and said, yeah, well, did you plan on having your career fall off a cliff? And it's interesting because when he answered that one the most accurately. He's like, nope, they wanted certain people out and they were cleaning. So that tells me they wanted to change the culture, and it's more of a football IQ thing, or at least at the very least a team chemistry thing, where he just wasn't able to follow his commands like the other players. That's why certain players like Larry Johnson probably played so much longer. I remember one year I was like, Herm Edwards is going to kill Larry Johnson. He ran the ball like 450 times, and I was like, Jesus. But yeah, when he's coming out, I give him more credence than a guy who had a couple years and fell off. Now, again, we don't know why he fell off, but we can see the end game here. And the best part is, like I said 100 times, the best part is we are seeing the stages of grief like I've never seen it before. Okay. Like I said, the 5 stages of grief, or 7, some call it 7 if it starts with shock, are right here. And like I said, we can use a little bit of analogies. You might not think that the fans will find out, but and it could drag the process out. The anger state is usually when the fans start calling that the NFL is rigged and it's important to be right or to win. It sounds like they're there right now. Like they have to be right. They're trying to prove that they're right. Right? They're past denial. They're past ignoring us. And that's amazing. That's not on accident. Then you get to bargaining. You may feel like you would do anything to make the pain go away. The pain is obviously them knowing that we know, and they're going to have to find a way to explain it away. But you should not lose touch with what is important, your happiness. So again, this is more about the human soul. But you can see, well, they're not happy, but they're basically between the anger and bargaining stage, in my opinion, of grief. And this is a better way. This is more concrete than emotional. You could see, trying to avoid the inevitable, they are past that. They are frustrated and they're outpouring their bottled up emotions. That's what they're doing. Whether they seem like they're laughing, don't forget, they can't come out screaming on TV. So just imagine what they're saying and try and close your eyes. And try and hear if it sounds like, man, this guy's really being condescending, or this guy's really being sarcastic, or is it true passion? And that's what I do. And then I think depression will be next, final resolution, or realization. I think they do realize it. They had the expert on, as I went over in my last video, and it was Ian Rappaport, and he said the NFL acknowledges there's a problem with referees. Now, do you really think that they know there's a problem just with the refs when NFL's rigged is trending more than anything else? So this is great news. It's nothing crazy, but like I said, I intend on covering all of this. And now that they summoned more people in to cover it, I wanted to also talk about them. Like I said, the good thing is I hear they're getting ratioed pretty bad, and they are also, nobody's really buying it. But my point is, Pat, Arian, I think it's going to be Pat Beverly for the NBA. All these guys, trust me, they're not coming out. They wouldn't be given a mic. They wouldn't be given a platform. Okay, to put in perspective, we got to 1,000 people and got shut down. And again, these guys are up there and they're fine. Pat McAfee's fine, giving picks every single week. If there's a reason. They want these guys because they want to keep the blinders on. So, again, I think we are doing great. I think and by we, I mean everybody that believes in the movement, not just this channel, but everyone that truly believes it's rigged and is proving it and trying to do what they can to get the word out. Again, we got shut down, and look how quickly we grew. It wasn't on accident. It wasn't because people love listening to my voice. It wasn't because people like looking at my screen. It's because people understand, agree, and they're so tired of hearing McAfee, and we're just going to keep growing. So I have our picks. That was my last video. And I'm not going to barrage people with McAfee videos and videos of Foster and everything else. I just do think it's important we don't just look at Larry Johnson as a crazy guy, because he's not the only one to come out and say it. And they love to spin things to make people look terrible, especially if they're not fitting a narrative. So I keep saying it, but I keep seeing other videos. I'm going to watch the Gene Steratore video. It just seems like the most predictable thing ever. If there's nothing crazy there, then I won't even go into it. But I think they might give us some revealing things. I told you guys before, Pat McAfee gave something away that really makes me not love the Chiefs. I know you guys are saying, no, it's like everything's lining up. There's one thing Pat McAfee said that has me questioning the Chiefs. And there's that's a very loaded statement that he said. So when I go into Gene Steratore, it fits right in with what I've been saying about this one thing. So I'm going to talk about that. I brought it up to you guys in the comments too, so you probably know what I'm talking about. It's essentially the fact that we know it's rigged. So what are they going to do with the Super Bowl? So I'm going to go into that in my next video and Gene Steratore. And then hopefully we don't have to cover this clown for a while, because I think he will be... I think they basically came out and said, here, come out with like a couple days of real hard shit and then go back to denial. That's usually what they do with the news. But we'll see what they do. We'll see if they keep it up. It's really going to be how many tweets go out, how many people are watching rigged YouTube channels. That's what's going to decide if they keep it up or if they back down, because the more people questioning, the more they're going to push back. It's just a law of resistance. So again, I know you guys didn't come here to see science or psychological assessments, but I think it all does fit in with what's going on. And to me, this playlist is the most important playlist you could watch. It honestly is. I know making money is fun. I know I always say happy earnings, but I say positive vibes, and is always more important. And again, the way they treat Larry Johnson in this backhanded way I was upset. I was annoyed. And I don't usually get annoyed and stuff, but I just wasn't expecting it. I knew they were going to be mocking us, which is fine. I can take being mocked. But when you have a guy that was ran into the ground, came out, has no reason to put his neck on the line, and it's just so sad that nobody is coming to stand by this man's side. Like, you got Dwight Smith, you got some guys, but you would hope Arian, somebody, a fellow running back, just someone would have came out. But it's just sad to see how easily people sell out for money, and how much they envy the WWF. It's kind of the WWE, whatever you want to call it. It is kind of funny too. But like I said, I'll watch the Steratore video. I know you guys probably don't want to hear 30 minutes of me just rebutting these morons, but to me it's important, because if you know the narrative and if you know what projection is and why they're projecting things, you'll never have to watch another one of my videos. Not that I want that, but my point is you'll have a lot of the recipe as far as who's going to win a game and why. A lot of this is psychological. You have to remember that. That's another thing Jamal Rashad goes into. He says the spreads are psychological numbers, and they're just set so people can, they have nothing to do with where the public action's at. And he's right. So I would recommend you watch him on TikTok. I'm hoping that he has his videos that he had on YouTube, because they were very informative. He got ripped down completely like I did, and then he got arrested. So hopefully we're not following the same suit, but I can promise you guys I'm a very pacifist person. So we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, that's basically it. I just think these two are lower than Pat McAfee now, and we can only imagine how low the people that actually sold out to a point where they are now either in the box or playing on the field and they're the star. We can only imagine what they've given up to be compensated so well. But yeah, as I said, this narrative is extremely important. Just seeing where these guys are at and seeing how they go from denial, which you can watch in Pat's videos in order, all the way to what I would call bargaining anger, I think just shows that we're winning, and that's all that matters. So, 10 people might watch this, but I know that the people that follow the channel from the beginning are all going to watch this, and this is my congratulations video. Everyone likes to do congratulations. I got 1,000. I could have done that. I didn't. Oh, congratulations. I got 500. We're not doing that. Congratulations on this, that. I got 1,000 views. Nope. Congratulations, guys. We are officially winning. Our movement has grown so strong that the great Pat McAfee himself, a former NFL running back that everybody knows, a lot of people know his name, Arian Foster here, Discount Joey Janela, which is still a podcast that a lot of people watch. They are all teaming up. And if you noticed, the smaller controlled opposition channels that tried to mess with us in the beginning, they've gone silent. We've beaten them. So this might sound like some kind of arrogant, like, God complex video. It's not. This is all of us, the people that genuinely know. I mention you guys all the time, Marco, Trey, Understand Boxing, all you guys that genuinely, Andy, Shane, there's a couple Shanes, just all you guys that always come through with great information, and, just Nick LaFleur, I think I have it right, and, always have been from the beginning, grinning in their face, happy wrenching. I can go on and on. I don't forget you guys. And you see how fast we're growing. You see the controlled oppositionals have literally been beaten into submission. These same channels that harassed me, stalked me, brought up stuff about me on their channels on a daily basis, came on my channel and mocked my autism. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And I'm not complaining. I'm not crying. That's what they do. My point is, I'm proud of us that we've beaten them. By beating them, I mean from an analytical standpoint, we have beaten them into submission. They stopped putting out videos, and now all of a sudden, it's almost like the powers that be said, "Hey, stand down. You guys aren't cutting it. We're bringing Daddy in," and they brought in Pat Mcafee. It might sound crazy, but it's pretty funny how this all seems to be timing up. These guys that have been talking about the NFL rig for years, like from what I can tell, are maybe dropping a video a week, completely silent on the Bengals, maybe outside of a stupid play where they show one late hit. So you can see that not only have we conquered the competition that has way more subscribers than us, I'm talking like 100,000 compared to us, and we have reached a level where I genuinely believe Pat McAfee is watching our channel, and that's a good thing. Will we get shut down again? Probably. But we're going to grow back faster than ever. And again, for everyone that's been here from the beginning, I know you'll understand. If you're just watching this first video and you're like, what are you talking about winning and all this different stuff? If you watch from the beginning, if you watch my very first video, it'll tie in perfectly with this one. So thank you everybody that took the time to watch this video. I know there's not one way I'm really going with it. I just wanted to explain why I believe our goal is not complete, but I believe that we have accomplished at least more than I ever expected we would by completely ratioing and clobbering the other controlled opposition channels, which I thought would have taken years, at least a year, and garnering the attention of Pat McAfee, who's funny, who is now saying that Hendon Hooker is undervalued in the draft. I can't remember who kept saying that. I really can't. Some guy kept saying that Hendon Hooker really should be top 10, but Will Levis being in there indicated he was chosen. It's so weird that McAfee brings Hendon Hooker up of all people in the middle of his NFL rigged videos. Maybe I'm being paranoid and a little bit egomaniacal, but I think I've earned it if you guys know me. So we are up 64 units. It might be 65. I'll have to check. We've been doing incredibly well. And again, I wonder, I always wonder why we were shut down, right? It's 69 units, I forget. Yep. So we gained 187 and we lost 118 is what happened. And literally everyone is in live order in the playlist. Every pick we've ever made. I've put it in the playlist. I put it in here. It goes right into my Discord. The reason being, even people that come here just to troll will wind up agreeing, wow, the system works. So this is why we were shut down. This is why Pat McAfee is out there now. This is why the controlled opposition attacked us so harshly. And they still are, by the way. Even though they're not putting out videos, they're still attacking us. You can see, that we're the only channel on YouTube who can make this claim. Nobody else on YouTube can say, if you followed every one of my videos, I guarantee you'd be up 65 units, because I'm up 65 units, 69. I have some in futures and stuff like that. But my point being, nobody can make that claim, and we're the channel, and the people that stuck with me, I appreciate you guys the most. I really do. I wish there's more I could do. That's why I do this stuff for free, though, because I know that there's people. Creaky Jones, I'm so sorry. Creaky Joints has literally been from the very, very beginning, like literal. My first channel, I put out a video about Kobe. He agreed, and he had me go. Like I was, you get discouraged sometimes. You're putting stuff out. People aren't quite awake yet. He always was there to help me along. So, you know, I don't look at the people that help comment on my videos as subscribers. I genuinely don't. I look at you as fellow truth seekers. So yeah, Creaky Joints, I'm sorry. You should have been the first guy I thought of because you were literally the day one guy on my channel that got shut down. And it's okay, we did. They shut us down on Christmas with $9.99, whatever it was. That's fine. We didn't complain. We bounced right back. I suggest you watch my first video if you've never seen this video because I'm a very different person. I do everything live. So you're not going to see a perfectly rehearsed video where I talk about one thing. It's more of a live type of theme, which, by the way, I'll be returning to very soon. I'll be doing a live video. I know people have been asking. So I've said enough. Thank you to everybody. Like I said, we are winning. At the very least, we're here garnering the attention of much bigger channels, which again is a double-edged sword, but it's one I'm gladly willing to take. And I think we have a good night tonight with our college picks. If you haven't seen it, college is starting soon. My college picks are good. I mean, I don't want to be braggadocious, but people in the comment will tell you how my college picks are. We're about 70% at the least, and we're just if without college basketball, we'd probably be up about 30 units right now. So that's the only thing I could say. We're probably up double what we are because of college basketball. That's how important college basketball has been. And why? Because not as many people are watching it. Everyone's watching the NFL. So they can easily rig a game like college, and when I see a trap game, it's more likely to be a rig. So, like I said, thank you all. Happy earnings, positive vibes. But most importantly, congratulations to all of us because we know for a fact that we are not only over the target, but we're literally entering their zone. We're entering their turf, if you want to call it, to a point where they're lashing back at us, all of us, the millions of us, however many are questioning. So please check out Jamal Rashad if you have the time. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Michael Francesi's another one. He talks about how he's Italian, so Pat's right. Italians aren't going to come out and snitch, but he does come out and talk about some of the stuff. And just watch some of Pat's stuff. You know, the last one I have to sit through and suffer through. I honestly, this is the stuff that is the hardest for me. Is his Gene Steratore video, because every time I go to watch it, I see he put out another one. And today's I thought was more important to cover because they're all mocking Larry Johnson, who, again, did nothing to these individuals except expose their narrative. So take care, everybody. Happy earnings, positive vibes, and thank you. Honestly, thank you.